I'm a buff baby, but I dance like a man. She a nice lady and she shaking the yams. Spent the whole summer trapping out the sedan. Marching with the bands cause I think that I can. I'm a lover, not a fighter, but I'll never let you flex on me. Broke my heart about a while ago, baby got the best of me.
Like a good sports show, A-League is there with episode 85. How's everything going?
How long have you been thinking about that one?
I just thought about that one in all honesty and truth as soon as I was driving in my way in here from here. Like I figured what would be a good way to kind of introduce? And then I know part of the mid week news had to do with the naming of our beloved Phillips Arena into State Farm Arena. So I was like, okay, wait a second. Let me do something about this. I think too much. What's going on?
You're gonna be the swag shop guinea pig. I can already see that already.
Swag? I don't think so, man. That's Jeremy right there. Swag shop guinea pig. That's either Jeremy or Rashad.
I see Jeremy with the waves this week. Okay, you've been putting on the grease. I see.
Nah, no grease, no grease.
No grease, just cap.
No cap.
No cap.
No, I just woke up.
No grease, no hip. That's all me.
Nah.
I promise you, I just woke up.
What happened?
Man.
Fresh cut this weekend? Something?
Nah, I got a cut. When was that? Wednesday? No, Monday. Monday evening.
The wave is looking nice, man.
I appreciate it,
fellas,
man.
don't be ashamed to, encourage your brothers every now and then.
Right. You're so right about that. Once again, everybody, thanks once again for tuning in. If you're listening on SoundCloud, thank you there. If you're listening on Dash Radio, to you there. Shout out NBN, Nothing But Net channel on Dash Radio. So just before we start, I just want to, of course, give a shout out to our beloved Georgia State Panthers. We, 1-0. 1-0, just so all of you know, they're 1-0, even though it was a little bit closer than what it should have been. But hey, win is a win, and as Herm Edwards once said, you play to win the game.
You play to win the game.
I thought the Cardiac Cats were in North Carolina, but they made their way down here.
It shouldn't have taken all that, man. It's Kennesaw State. No disrespect to those who go to Kennesaw. I respect what y'all do, but Kennesaw State's in Division II school.
No,
I mean, they made the FCS, but they made didn't they make the semifinals of FCS the year before?
Yeah, they made the playoffs last year.
I mean, Kennesaw State ain't no scrubs now going on here.
I mean, but they still are like a third-year team.
Yeah, like they've only had a program for 3 years now,
yeah,
and we going on half a decade almost. When did Georgia?
2010.
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah, it's
almost a decade.
Yeah, almost a decade. So that's ridiculous.
I mean, but the way I look at it is a win is a win. And hey, we lost the opener last year.
Yeah.
We lost the opener last year in State Stadium, and what ended up happening, we ended up reeling off win after win after win, and what ended up happening is that we won our first bowl game. So, hey, you got to take what you can get. As I said last week, beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, keep them on the schedule because I see that makes 23,000 in attendance. And
yeah,
it's always good when football has good attendance.
Yeah,
right.
I think it was great, but for those who want to see Georgia State play Georgia Tech and Georgia, that slow your roll.
Oh no!
Look at what happened. When was it, Thursday? That's why they are not ready for that type of game yet. Like that, just nobody will go watch, and it'll just be 112-3.
Here's the thing, though: Georgia State will play Georgia Tech in basketball because we know we can beat Georgia Tech at basketball. But as far as Tech in football, or as far as UGA in football, probably not.
No,
probably not. I mean, we're a Sun Belt school for a reason, dudes.
Yeah, I just gotta see Elliott's guys probably maybe next year or a year after, see like how you get a good recruiting class in, see how they compete, because we gotta do the whole process all over again.
Yeah.
So see how they are, but there's the potential. I mean, I like the receivers; they're big and they can get that. They can get the moss ball. I like that, but
right.
Yeah, and they're young. The team's very young.
Pretty much. Other than, of course, we had to shout out GSU. Of course, we're all alums of the Concrete Campus in downtown Atlanta. Shout out 88.5. But other than that, what impressed all of y'all this first week of CFB college football?
Well, my Tigers, they pulled it out. Yeah, so it's great to see them It was great to see
I'm
them
sorry.
win that. What? What's so funny?
just seeing an SEC team struggle with Washington is a little strange for me.
Washington probably gonna win the Pac-12.
They probably are.
Yeah, I'm just glad because this season right here, like they're like Georgia played Notre Dame last year and they factored that in the playoffs and stuff.
Yeah.
And Auburn got a tough schedule this year, and games like this, Washington or a ranked opponent, it goes a long way. Because we lost to Clemson last year, and that could have been used in the argument. And meanwhile, you had Alabama to beat FSU and Georgia beat Notre Dame. That helped them out. So
I think these. I'm a big supporter of going out and playing these tough games, but I think it's more of when you play these teams and the type of game you play. Because like you said, that Auburn game and Auburn and Clemson last year, Auburn was the better team on the field that night. That night particular, they just barely came out. Clemson barely won, but Clemson gets the benefit of the doubt. And when Georgia beat Notre Dame, that wasn't really a big win. Georgia was better than Notre Dame, and they struggled to beat them. Okay, cool. But, when Alabama beat FSU, they beat them without their quarterback. Yeah. So Alabama got the benefit of the doubt after having, beating a beat-up Florida State team that only won, 6 or 7 games last year.
6 games.
Like, that looked great at the time, but it really meant nothing. So I need when at the end of the year, I need people to take a look at the entire body of work and not just, that name's on the schedule, because that name and prestige that a school may have at the beginning of the year isn't necessarily how good that football team is by the end of the year. So,
do you feel like it's better because that's one of the things that is so pervasive about college football is that, you play a lot of these, I don't want to say cupcake, but you play a lot of these teams that you should beat in the beginning of the year before, of course, eventually you get into conference play. Do you feel like that it's good to schedule those types of teams like early first 2 weeks of the season or sometime like right before you get into conference?
Depends on what conference you play in. If you play in ACC, SEC, and Big Ten, you need those games. Because like every week you're playing a ranked opponent, especially in the Big Ten. Like every week there's going to be somebody out there that can beat you.
Like a Wisconsin.
Yeah. So as far as like if you're Washington, you have to play those games because nobody's you going 12-0 against the Pac-12 schedule is not good enough to get you in the playoff. Not right now. So
not right now, the way the Pac-12 is currently constructed.
Right.
So like you said, it probably is one of those things that for sure depends on it just depends on the conference and everything like that. Because, of course, as we all know, some conferences are better than others. I don't want to name names, but but as we know, there are some teams, there are, of course, some teams in some conference where like the 4th ranked team, say in the SEC, could probably beat like the 2nd ranked team in the Pac-12 or something.
Yeah. I mean, the top 3 or 4 conferences. There's the biggest gap I ever remember it there being as far as, mid-level teams versus other conferences mid-level teams. Like the Big Ten is the best conference right now to me. The SEC and ACC are right there, but.
Hold up! Wait a second! Wait! Wait a minute!
I just played that back in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But Big Ten is the best conference. Did you hold up? Because you rep all SEC all day, every day. Particularly your UGA Bulldogs. Did you just say Big Ten is better than the SEC?
Yeah.
I'm trying to Ohio State,
Wisconsin, Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State. All those teams are ranked in the top 12.
Wow. Amazing.
And then you got a really good Nebraska team with Frost. That's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
It's going to be way better than it was last year. Then you got Minnesota, and then you got Maryland, who just beat Texas yesterday.
I'm not denying the prowess that the SEC has. Not the SEC. I'm not denying the prowess that the Big Ten has made. I'm just kind of surprised because I know that it's one of those things where I remember we was having an SEC debate around the time of the college football, around the time of the college basketball season, and you was like, "Oh, the SEC is the best conference."
I mean, it was in basketball at the end of the year, yeah, but not for football right now. No, it's not. I mean, the Big 12 has 6 or 7 really good football teams that should be ranked. I mean, the SEC maybe has 4,
perhaps
Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina maybe, and then maybe LSU, and they probably won't be ranked after
Florida.
After Miami gets it. Florida's not nowhere near ranked.
Oh, really?
Florida, they probably won their only game they're going to win this year, yesterday.
And
Whoa.
that was it.
Look out.
And yes, that was a little Gator hate.
Yeah,
Of course, which is rampant in Athens, as we know.
It's just kind of hard for me to call about it, SEC, because there's a lot of new coaches, so I really can't say. But like Big Ten, as far as I know, I just knew Michigan. I'm just like I thought they were going to beat Notre Dame because they finally got the quarterback, and I was seemed like it was the missing piece.
Yeah.
And then I knew Ohio State. I was just watching Nick Bosa, and I was like, man, you might want to start looking at houses in New York, man.
And as I know, being a native New Yorker, houses in New York not exactly cheap. By the way, I saw a little bit of the Georgia game, and the part of it that I saw, I think y'all were shutting out Austin Peay by about 38-0 or something like that.
The final score was, I think, 45-0.
Which was expected, of course. That's one of those. That's one of those games. Plus, as we all know, following college athletics, the bigger schools. Of course, the bigger schools love. Not the bigger schools, but the smaller schools love that because they're getting a lot of money from the bigger schools for it. So, I mean, there's a payoff, in those types of games as well that goes beyond what happens on the field, even if they know they're going to get their butts kicked.
I mean, it helps those programs. Look what it
True.
did for Georgia State. Georgia State took how many losses to Alabama?
Two.
They took two awful losses, and
Awful losses.
it helped them, put some foundation down and put some, finances in there into their program that kind of helped them turn into what they are now. So
Right.
Still ask us for money.
and the thing is, they're still asking us for money, and I feel like that they always will. I remember that one year when they played. They went all the way to Seattle. They played Washington, and they had a 14-0 lead, I believe, at halftime, and then all of a sudden at halftime,
didn't they lead Oregon too at one point?
I think they did lead
When was
Oregon.
that? When was that? That was like 3 years ago.
That was like the next year.
Yeah, I think they did lead Oregon at one point in time, and they also had the lead on Washington, and then all of a sudden, the Huskies just went. Wisconsin too, and then they just went
injuries.
full Washington.
Wisconsin, they had a fourth quarter lead.
Yeah.
But Georgia, that Georgia game is crazy because I think my stepdad told me last night when I got back home, he was like, you saw the end of that Georgia game? I was like, no, I started paying attention to the Auburn game after a while because it was so boring. And he was like, man, Kirby Smart, both coaches, man, at the end of the third quarter said, let's just make the fourth quarter 10 minutes. And I was like, what? Like, that's crazy because it was so hot and blah, blah, blah. The Governors, Austin Peay, let's go P, they are the worst team in college football. They didn't win a game from like 2014 to 2017. One game at all. That's ridiculously
no
bad.
idea.
Yeah.
So they are like really, really bad. Auburn, in my paper, I'm really close to Auburn. So we had guest pickers or whatever, advertisers, and it was me and one other person that picked against Auburn. And Washington had a prime example. They had a prime chance to win that game, and they fumbled it every single time. Jake Browning. Jake Browning.
Yeah.
He ain't it, man. He ain't it. And I remember coming out of high school, he was like Elite 11 with Ant. We talked about that in the group chat a little bit. That dude, Elite 11 means like nothing.
No.
If you look back at the Elite 11 classes, like only like two of those dudes turn out to be something. So yeah.
Stafford and Wilson maybe?
No, I'm talking about two guys out of each class.
Oh,
Stafford,
yeah.
of course, as we know, turned out to be pretty good for themselves, even though he was on a Detroit Lions team, of course, mired in misery. Calvin Johnson helped too.
I'm trying to think that the Eagles quarterback that got hurt last year, the rookie,
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz, not him. I'm thinking about the Rams quarterback. The number one pick, Jared Goff. Jared Goff. He was he was a Elite 11 guy. It's a couple other guys, but yeah.
And much ballyhooed coming out
Jake
of college
Browning,
too.
you are a loser, bro. You made me look stupid.
I could have told him to pick Auburn.
I mean, okay.
Of course he would, because he's an Auburn dude.
Okay. Yesterday was Auburn's first Week 1 win against a top 10 opponent since 1957.
Yeah, Auburn's a slow starting team.
And
They really are.
even though it was a home game, it's like that's a very easy game for Auburn to sleep in, right? Because it's pretty much a home game for them.
They saw what Alabama did to them 2 years ago.
Exactly.
So that's easy to just be like, well, we're as good as Alabama was that year. So
Exactly. And they're coming off a year where they expected, they feel that chip on their shoulder their entire offseason that they should have been in the playoff because we beat Georgia, we beat Alabama. Oh, yeah, we're the real champs. We the real da-da-da-da-da. So they come in. I mean, you're an Auburn fan, so of course you're not going to think that.
No, I'm
But
just saying, from an unbiased standpoint, I haven't seen that communicated about a chip on the shoulder about the playoffs.
I mean, but okay, I just think Auburn fans, talking to Auburn fans, they had that chip on their shoulder all off season. Of the playoff system is is messed up.
Oh yeah, because they felt
so-
they got screwed last year.
Exactly.
No, the only way they really got screwed is because they didn't beat Georgia in the SEC championship.
Well, but I'm saying everybody.
Georgia got in.
But they probably felt like they
I'm
should have
just-
been
I'm just-
facing Georgia, not Alabama, because they beat Bama last year.
no,
I'm just-
Bama shouldn't have been in.
No way.
I'm just telling y'all how the people in Alabama are telling me day to day to my face about War Eagle, blah blah blah. Blah, 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 blah. That's how they feel. That's how they felt all season coming into now. And I just felt like this was kind of an easy trap game for Washington to slide a win in on them. And they had prime examples in the red zone, time after time after time. Auburn missing field goals. You had a chance to win the game. Jake Browning get sacked. The one thing that I don't understand is if you have, a minute and a half left, you got to go for it on fourth down, and you get him blitzed, all-out blitz. You got to throw the ball. You got to give yourself a chance. How y'all feel about that?
Oh, yeah.
I can't just take a sack on fourth and long, right?
That's
No,
the
you
one
got to
thing
throw
they
it. You
don't
got to
do.
put up a
That
prayer.
doesn't make sense. You got to throw the ball.
You got to.
All-out blitz. You know it's an all-out blitz. You see it coming. The announcer
Right.
seen it coming. So I know you seen it coming.
And the
I
thing
don't
is
know.
that
You
it
got to
also
get the ball and throw this one.
and
You
the thing
can't-
is that if there is an
No,
all-out blitz,
There ain't no sometimes you take a sack. Not in
No, I'm
that
saying sometimes you
situation.
don't see the blitz.
I think he definitely saw that.
Because,
blitz.
like, some defense coordinators do a great job disguising it.
Right.
Right.
Well, they came up in that box about 8 folks in that box,
Because you can.
and they all on the
Because
line.
you can.
They were shouting out, "We're coming."
Because you can.
They all on the line.
Because you can stack your front seven.
Yeah.
And then you can just send your linebackers back at the last second.
Right.
and
Right.
trick
Yeah.
'em.
Yeah. You're right. But fourth down, I mean, more than likely, like you know what's going on if you know how they've been treating you all game. They were punking Jake Brown in the red zone all game.
Yeah, that's kind of been
So-
my problem with him. Is that
You gotta throw the
he
ball.
he doesn't show up in the
It don't make
when he
sense to
gets
take
hit.
a sack.
When he gets hit, he don't think he's not one of those type of quarterbacks that you can hit
Yeah.
15 times and he gonna still be the same player. That's not who he is. I think
right.
Washington's gonna be dangerous, more dangerous next year with Jacob Eason at quarterback because
Eason's a killer.
he's
Oh, yeah.
used to that kind of pressure and used to playing in that kind of atmosphere. So
Right, exactly. From his experience, of course, in the SEC. And the thing about it is that if your quarterback is facing an all-out blitz, then one would think that your coaching staff and your offensive coordinator would be able to develop a play to pretty much try and see if he can dump it off to somebody in response to being all-out blitzed.
And you know what my response to that is? Just don't get in 4th and 2 to win the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Cam Newton.
at that point in time, the defense has the advantage no matter what they want to like. Okay, you can show a blitz and you can show an all-out blitz and then just drop everybody back in coverage, and that just confuses the quarterback even more. Like, okay, now what do we do? You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
And then the quarterback's dead meat.
Don't let it come down to that next time. That's all.
Shout out to Booby Whitlow, Lafayette High School graduate. You know what I'm saying? That's in my coverage area.
Who does he play for?
Yeah, Auburn. He scored the go-ahead touchdown yesterday.
Local guy.
Yeah. His name is Jartavius. They call him Booby.
Booby.
Gotcha,
Shout out
gotcha.
Booby.
I got one more point to make about the Auburn and Washington game. Another reason why I don't really like to see these kind of games in their first week of the season is because of, like you said, there was a lot of missed field goals, a lot of penalties, a lot of missed assignments. Okay, people are going to look at this at the end of the year and be like, well, Auburn beat Washington. But by week 8, those are going to be 2 completely different football teams. Like, they may be a 2 top 5 teams by that point. But, well, Washington will have a loss because they lost to Auburn. But is that really the Washington team we're going to see when it's time to make the decision?
Right.
Is
And
that
then
the Auburn team we're going to see when it comes time to make the decision?
And then you also got to take into consideration, football. Injuries happen all the time in football.
Right.
So say, of course, God forbid, because you hate injuries. But say, Washington, they suffer some injuries. Auburn suffers some key injuries, and like you said, what we see early is not going to be what we see in November.
No.
Yeah, it was just people sleeping on them, man. They already penciling in Bama in to win the West.
Well, you know what?
Of course, because they're Bama.
If I had to pick somebody
There
today,
you go.
if we had to play a championship game tomorrow, ain't nobody beating Alabama, man.
All right, okay.
Nobody.
All right. Great transition. I want to talk about this, but before I'm sure Keem was gonna touch on it. Tua, all off season, I thought it was obvious that Tua was the starter. It wasn't even close. Because Hurts can't really throw, and Tua came in and threw that ball in the biggest stage and the biggest. You know what I'm saying?
He just looked calm.
It was crazy.
He just looked like I know I'm good.
So
I play for Alabama.
So that happened. Whatever. Blah blah blah. He played a great game yesterday. Blah blah blah. The Maria Taylor thing, man. How y'all feel about that, man?
Yeah, Nick Saban need to calm that down.
I
said it in the group chat last night. He just need to calm down because Maria's not the first person to ask that question. He treated her like she was the only one to have ever asked that question. And I was just because he did it before the game. I was like, okay, you about to find out in about 30 seconds. Okay, that ain't what she asked you. Second of all, at the end of the game, he was just like, why are you gonna keep asking me? Okay, I know you're gonna get asked 12 times in the post game. Why are you mad at her? Because she's doing her job. Don't talk to her like that.
Exactly.
It's part of the job. I mean, it's Saban being Saban. So I mean, it's nothing out of the ordinary.
Saban need to become a better person.
I mean, like nobody gonna snatch the job away from him.
That's true.
So just like, oh, you brought in championships.
But it's how all these football coaches operate when you think about it. It's especially coaches that are getting paid lots of money like Nick Saban. Nick Saban, by the way, highest paid public employee in the entire state of Alabama. So he feels like he can go ahead and walk around like he's a big shot.
Yeah, you don't talk to people like that.
No.
If
he comes back.
If he didn't move like the president and have security all around him, I can't say that on the podcast because I'm going to just stop and backtracking my steps.
Right, exactly. That was below. But then again, I can't even say that's below Nick Saban, but because, like I said, these football coaches, all of them.
That's college,
yeah, especially in the college level.
Yeah. High school, too.
Yeah, high school.
High school, I had some coaches come up to me on Friday because they lost the week 1 game against a 5A opponent. They're 1A, but last year they were 2A. They went undefeated, and they beat the team that got beat. Okay, I'm trying to explain this. All right, so the 5A team last year, they went 2-8, and they lost to this 1A team, right? And the 1A team last year went 15-0, won the state championship.
Yeah.
The 5A team in this season opener beat the 1A team.
Okay.
So everybody's calling it an upset. So I called it an upset. Okay, because the 1A team has 2 4-star recruits, right? They're the big guys. They have 2 of the best players in the state of Alabama.
They're the big Cooners. Yeah.
So you said 5A team beat the 1A team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the 5A team, they got 6 players playing on both sides of the field too.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, I get in the booth or whatever. The assistant coaches, hey man, that ain't no upset. Nah.
No, they
and then
right.
So then they were like, I'll be offended because that's like a D2 team, the D2 champs losing to a D1 team like Vanderbilt. And I was like, that's not the same thing. Because if App State beat Vanderbilt the year before, right, really bad, and App State went undefeated that season and they won the national championship, and then Vanderbilt came into App State the next year, who would be the favorite to win that game?
App State.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Long story short, all coaches be tripping, bro.
At some point, it got to matter who's the better football team. I don't care how big or small your school is.
I mean, I played AAA and 4A, and for the most part, only time it was an upset when I played was like I was at a 3A school at the time, and we beat a 5A team. I mean, the 5A team beat us, but this town, like Houston County High, at the time they were like the cupcakes of Houston County because you got Northside, Warner Robins bring out a lot of NFL.
What was their record?
I don't even remember the record right now, but it was just the fact that we used to beat them all the time, and like Northside and Warner Robins, they were powerhouses. Like it's a lot. It's a lot of players from college that plays on these teams that came from Northside, Warner Robins, and like even Jake Fromm.
So was that considered an upset when they beat y'all?
I mean, because we
beat them.
Not saying we beat them like 8 years in a row.
Right.
Like, but like as far as if like Hawking, like let's see, I think one like Houston County beats Clinch County 5A, the Clinch County the single A champs. It's not really that big of a deal. It's just like just geographical stuff.
I don't think that's what he's saying though. From what I understand, it's like okay, it'd be like a normal 5A school beating the best. Like okay, Eagles Landing Christian is probably the best 1A school in the state.
Yeah,
they got 5, 6 guys, 4 3-star guys, whatever. That'll be like no disrespect to these schools. It'll be like a normal high school, like. Okay, I'm gonna use my school. It'd be like Clark Central beating them, which, you would think that Clark Central should beat this team, but they don't have the athletes that this 1A school has. This 1A school has beaten some of everybody for 2 years,
and
3 years in a row.
And say Eagles Landing beat Clark Central
the year before.
The year before, real bad, like 42-6, right?
Okay.
And then they're in the same county, right?
Yeah.
Say hypothetically they're in the same county and they play them every year. The last couple of years they've been dominating them. They have the better athletes, the bigger prospects, and then one year they came into their house and they beat Eagles Landing.
Well, it could go both ways.
It just depends on the perception of the football and stuff, because it's just like I know down south, like, Valdosta, Valdosta and stuff, just Valdosta Lounge, and then some, that's all, just rivalries and just, because, you got good players all over. Like, it's, like, when I was coming up, I've seen players, good players at single A and double A, and it's expected, just like from areas like Columbus, Macon, Valdosta, you always got good athletes, just the school's small.
Mm-hmm. Right. It depends, and it's not the school's fault that is small. we've all been around in some way, shape, or form involved with high school athletics. It could be one of those issues where you can have say like a really, really, really good 3A team that looks like they're really going to be good, has a chance to maybe only lose one game this year, and then they go up against a 4A team that is also sort of on that same plane. But the thing about it is that what if the 4A team was pretty much a preseason pick to possibly win states. And then all of a sudden the 3A team, they goes into there and they only allowed them to score 7 points. And just like that, everybody's thinking, oh, okay, that could be an upset. But what if one of the rubs of that is the 3A team has enough students there to where they could potentially be a 4A team because of just the intricacies with that.
Yeah.
Because you got a lot of these 3A schools that have so many students that are so overcrowded to the point to where they could be at 4A and probably may have competed previously at 4A, but just went down to 3A because of rivalries or whatever.
Right. Last thing on this. So say week 1, Marietta was 7A, right? Marietta was the number 15 team ranked nationally. They're playing Rome. They're playing Rome.
Rome.
A 5A state defending champion, right? So Rome, they beat Marietta by about maybe like 10 points, maybe 14, maybe a couple touchdowns. Is that considered an upset?
No. Just
Thank you.
No.
Well, there it is. I think that's a good.
It depends on the players because it doesn't consider the possibility that maybe, okay, you could have, you could be a 2A or maybe, you could be a 3A and going up against a 6A or a 7A. But that doesn't mean that the 2A school or the 3A school can't have better players. Like Jeremy was saying, Ultimately, it comes down to players. It comes down to coaching staff. And if you have the players, if you have the bodies, if you have it, then who knows? A 2A or a 3A could beat a 6A or a 7A.
And bottom line, there in some of these big places, like what David was saying, there's some of these places where high school football is really big and important. There are certain teams that these high schools just don't lose to, and they shouldn't lose to. But in the case of Rome and Marietta, I would say Marietta has the more talented college-type players, but Rome has a better football program and a better football team. So that's why I was saying it could go both ways. It depends on, like David said, the perspective of where they're from. So back to your point about what we were saying about Nick Saban, it was, I didn't really like it.
Don't talk to Maria.
Don't talk to Maria. Don't talk to Maria.
Shout out to Maria Taylor. We're gonna get her on the podcast.
She's a bulldog, and we don't like that.
Right, exactly.
You already took a national championship from us. Don't talk to Maria.
Atlanta kid.
Yeah.
I watched. Switching up a little bit. I watched the Bulldogs yesterday. I wasn't really impressed. So.
Oh, you wasn't really impressed?
No,
I mean, I didn't really check him out, but I had to gauge him against South Carolina to see.
They're based off what I saw yesterday. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, I think they're in trouble this week.
I don't get the 2 quarterback system. I don't get that.
Yeah, that's not going to beat anyone important. I'm gonna go ahead and let you know that.
Just keep it consistent.
Yeah, either just play one of them. And honestly, from what I saw yesterday, I think I'm glad he played them both because people should have gotten from it that Justin Fields isn't ready to be a starting quarterback yet.
Yeah,
they should have gotten that from what they saw yesterday, but I don't think a lot of people did. I think they'll look at the 7 for 8 or wherever he was and 33 yards rushing
against Austin P.
But
Against Austin P.
Let's go P.
They didn't go look at how he kind of. He only looked at one read and he would get happy in the pocket. Jake Fromm was consistent and he was smooth in the pocket, and it all looked like it was really slow to him. Justin Fields looked like he was moving 150 miles per hour when he didn't need to. So,
what's the old saying? Sometimes when you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback.
Yep.
That's the old saying. Yeah, that's an Austin P team that probably the Georgia State team of 2010 could probably beat.
I don't know about all that. That team couldn't beat nobody.
Hey.
They couldn't beat nobody.
Yeah. Gotcha. But I see what you're saying about the, even about the Nick Saban thing. And on top of that, that was a legit question because that is something that everybody
question you have to ask.
You have to ask it.
I think that's one thing that people don't understand about journalism. It's like, or journalists. It's like when people ask the obvious question that's asked a billion times, you still have to ask the question just because that's your job, because that's what most people want to know about.
Because I've been in situations before where I've been in NASCAR races, and I would go ahead and I would ask people certain questions that another person would go ahead and ask like 5 minutes later. But they ask it because of the fact that, you're just hoping that, they trip up because they're coached before these interviews and they're coached before these pressers. But you're hoping that something ends up happening, and then what ends up happening is that it kind of they say something where it starts some conversation. But that's how that's going. But
I think people need to understand that we don't like asking these obvious questions. Like, that's not what we wake up in the morning to do.
But they got to get asked.
Let me go ask this guy the same question I heard him answer yesterday. No, that's not how we think. Like, we love to be able to ask new questions and be able to have conversations with our subjects. We don't want them to be upset and have this, well, I'm tired of asking this question attitude. It's our job though. So sometimes you're gonna get the same questions.
But Saban thinks he's a big shot.
Saban could have gotten ahead of this and named the quarterback like everyone else did last week, but he doesn't. I don't know why he just didn't say, well, Tua's the starter.
He wanted to play Louisville and play mind games with everybody else.
They didn't need to do all that.
They didn't do that. They didn't beat Louisville.
It was so obvious that Tua was the starter last January.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know why this was even a thing the last 8 months.
I mean, and if Louisville really wanted to have to prepare for Jalen Hurts, it's not like they haven't seen him play for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like,
so somebody's doing too much.
Louisville, man, they need Teddy Bridgewater. Call up Lamar.
They need
Jackson,
Teddy Bridgewater and Lamar Jackson. They need both of them.
They need Bridgewater at wide out and the Wildcat, and then Lamar at quarterback.
They need everybody.
No, that'll be ugly.
They need those 20-something draft picks they had over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I think if you look at like who's been drafted, had the most players drafted, Louisville's up there in the top 3, I think.
It's only a couple days before Bobby Petrino go to New Mexico. New Mexico State. Let's go.
Or he signs a new contract with the Falcons.
Oh no, he can't come back. He can't even come back to Atlanta no more.
What?
You can't come back to Georgia.
No,
can't come back to
you're
the state
banned,
of Georgia.
homie.
If somebody offers him a pretty good bit of money, he'll come back.
No,
Believe me, he's all about the cash, straight cash, homie.
SB Nation did a doc on it like a month ago, and they said he talked to Arthur Blank that week and said, "You have my full trust."
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Like a couple days before he left, man.
Oh man.
That dude is.
He's all about the money, but he can coach his butt off. That's the crazy thing. Petrino's a great coach.
He's a good coach.
That karma's going to catch up to
him.
him.
It already did. That's why he's not at Arkansas anymore.
Right, exactly. And he had that whole thing with the mistress down in Arkansas.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why he got fired.
A motorcycle?
Right.
I didn't know that.
He was having an affair.
I just saw he. I remember the car accident. I remember that. I remember the accident. Right. I just remember he was in Arkansas, pig suey, and then accident, and then he ended up in Louisville.
Yeah, did he go right back to Louisville?
I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
I think he did.
I mean, but that's all I knew.
Yeah, he
Right.
was in an accident, and on the bike with him was his mistress.
I didn't know that part.
She was like a grad assistant or like a secretary, but she was a former athlete, I think.
Like a
Yeah.
former volleyball player.
So it was
Yeah.
like a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
She was young.
Like a
She was like
25-year-old.
24, 25. Yeah,
he
Right.
hired
He's
her.
married.
Yeah, he hired her
Uh-huh.
and everything.
Of
Hired
course.
her.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yo,
of course.
that's a dirty dude, man. Did his wife leave him?
I don't know.
I don't know if he. I don't know if she did. She'd be justified if she did.
I haven't read up on him since then, but I wouldn't fault her if she stayed.
Yeah, money.
Yeah.
All them contracts, man. Getting the Falcon money, the Arkansas money, the Louisville
The
money.
Louisville money, probably like you said, probably going to sign a new deal with New Mexico State. Probably as soon as we're done with this
I think
podcast.
Bobby Petrino gonna be the first coach to coach 2 teams in a one weekend.
Definitely. I can see
man.
that coming. Like he plays with Louisville, they get blown out, and then
Right.
he leaves on Friday, signs on Saturday, and then dresses up
On
Saturday.
Thursday, if say like Bowling Green or something like that, he's gonna coach that game, and then all of a sudden he has to shoot up all the way up to
I got
New York
2 jobs.
to coach Rutgers.
They're gonna be practicing against each other. every day.
Yeah, both of his teams. He's gonna be the all-time coach for both teams.
Oh my god. I can see it coming, man.
It could very well happen. As much as these coaches are all about money, I'm going to go a little bit more local to say. Remember last week when we was talking about how the Dream could break the ATL curse? They're up 2-1, even though
supposed to
it's
say
kind of a
that.
shame because of Elena Della Don.
Are you falling for this?
Hey, you ain't supposed to say
Rashad,
it.
you don't even have to say it this time. Are you seriously falling for this?
They're up 2-1,
this is how
and the Mystics don't have their best player.
This is how it happens every time, okay? Like,
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
you weren't
it
supposed to
has
say
to
it, man.
happen.
That was with a gag order on
When
this.
Tavo Cephalosha
gag order.
got
Yeah,
beat,
right.
got
Just worry
beat by
about
the
your Kentucky.
cops. When Tavo Cephalosha got beat by the cops, bro, and they tore that man ACL. I was like, it's never happening in my lifetime. It's over.
What?
When the cops beat Tavo Cephalosha right before the playoffs, I'm like, dog,
Didn't
it's like-
I say this
it's never
last
happening
week?
in my lifetime.
Didn't I say this last week? I made my case last week. You know who else also thought that same exact thing? Red Sox fans and Cubs fans. And it happened in 2004. It happened in 2016.
like
so
this.
I'm just saying.
What I'm just saying is, like we said last week, they had championships already.
yeah, Akeem, just think about this.
Atlanta has championships.
This is how this is.
1995.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you know what's gonna happen. Okay.
Oh, come on.
Today. This
What?
is gonna happen today.
They're playing today
They're
in
going,
D.C.
They're going to lose today in D.C.
No, they're not.
They're going to lose today.
No, they're not.
I promise you, they're gonna lose today.
Man.
They're gonna come back to Atlanta. They're gonna get a big lead. They're gonna be out by 20. It's gonna be 40-24. I can see it. I can see it right now. Halftime
Jeremy,
score.
what are you doing?
Halftime score gonna be 40-24. Everybody gonna be like, we going to the ship. And they gonna almost get there. They gonna go, matter of fact, they're gonna get up 50-31.
No.
Entering the fourth quarter.
No. Della Don gonna come out.
Come out the locker room.
She's gonna come out the locker room with the crutches on and the jersey. Say, what's
Hey.
she doing with crutches
Hey.
on the jersey on?
Hey.
She gonna drop 50.
She gonna
At
take off the
least-
crutches. She gonna throw the crutches back in the locker room and
What?
then
Oh
check
my
in.
God.
We gonna be like, what is she doing? Oh my goodness.
Oh.
She wasn't ruled inactive. She just wasn't dressed the first half. And
Man,
then she got-
man, don't make me take off this.
Willis Reed.
Man, Jeremy, don't make me take off these headsets.
Come on, man.
Hey, at least I'm a native New Yorker. My team, the Liberty, we can't even win a game. We playing in a substandard arena that resembles Georgia State Sports Arena. At least y'all got a shot.
No, we don't.
At least y'all got a shot.
Hey.
Man.
Even if Jewel Lloyd, Breonna Stewart, the MVP, Sue Bird, Lasia Clark.
They
Come
may
on,
not even
dog.
get there. They got to deal with Phoenix first.
Akeem, all 4 or 5 of the players he just named could play for the Dream, and they still would lose tomorrow and the next game.
You know,
Tarasi went full Super Saiyan Michael Jordan, hitting leaner shots with to tie the game to get it into overtime, and they still lost.
but
to the
also
team.
think about this. Let's just say the Dream get this game in Washington, which there's a chance that they may very well
They're not
will.
going to.
There's a chance. I think there's a better than 50% chance. Even though it's a shame Washington lost their best player in Atlanta Della Don. So
Atlanta
I think
lost their best player.
Well, Atlanta lost their best player too, but Atlanta
But
without
Atlanta's
their best player
already cursed
is
on
better
top of that.
than Washington without their best player. Let's just get that out the way. Okay. So let's just say the Dream win this game. They win the series in 4, prepare for the finals. I think that the Mercury Storm series is going 5 games. And there's a chance that if that series goes 5 games, game 1 of the finals, Atlanta is going to be well rested against either a Phoenix team or a Seattle team that just went through a grueling 5-game series, and all of a sudden You know what's going to happen.
I'm gonna be real honest with you. I don't even want to know what's gonna happen. Because if they do get to the finals, they're not okay. They're not better than either one of those teams.
Well, they may not be better, but they could win a game.
I can't see Atlanta winning in Key Arena.
No,
Key Arena, they won a basketball team. They won a basketball team so bad that
Key Arena got a Key Arena.
Those games sound like NBA playoff games.
Key Arena got a crowd, and so does Talking Stick in Phoenix. I mean, not Talking Stick because they're playing I think they're playing at Arizona State. But yeah, Phoenix got a crowd too.
So right now, the Dream are playing another team with bad fan support in general,
which is a shame. Which is why they're moving to a 4,500 seat arena next year. Which is butcher.
Atlanta and Washington, they both been playing in two pretty kind of bare arenas.
Yeah,
they're loud, but they're kind of empty.
Right.
When you go from that to Seattle to an NBA playoff atmosphere, I don't know. And you got a girl like a woman like Sue Bird as your point guard.
Yeah.
Who's been there and been there.
Right.
And the MVP.
Breonna Stewart is no joke.
Breonna Stewart's the real deal. She's
the rookie of the year.
Yeah.
And then if they have to deal with Phoenix, I don't even want to know what's going to happen if Brittany Griner trying to block. Like, I could just see Alexis Bentley or Tiffany Hayes goes down the lane and she just catch it in her hand.
Hey, Tiffany Hayes blocked Griner earlier this year.
That's cool.
That's cute.
It wasn't even
That's
cute. That was cool. Cool.
But yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I see everything I see what you're saying. But I'm just saying somebody has to be an eternal optimist around here because this town is full of eternal pessimists.
What do you guys think will happen? Like, if they win, like, is there gonna be a parade? Like,
no.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not so sure about a parade.
A kickback.
Well,
yeah, it'll be a kickback.
Well, the thing is, I'm not so sure about a parade, but I think what'll probably end up happening is because some teams didn't have a parade. Now, the Lynx had a parade last year when they won. When the Sparks won 2 years ago, they didn't have a parade. They just had a rally at Staples. So they're probably just going to have like a rally either at Tech or maybe a rally at at Centennial or some mess like that. I'm not so sure they'll go full on parade because, like you said, they don't have the fan base for that. Unfortunately,
LA is a bandwagon city anyway. So
LA draws fans. They drew 13,000 per game this year.
But winning any championship for them is just like, yay! Let's win it again next year.
The Dream did a very marketing team. They did a very unique thing.
Yeah.
Because I saw like 2 Chainz was there. I was like, oh snap, 2 Chainz even there.
Yeah.
And then I saw afterwards why 2 Chainz was there.
Oh.
I was like, yo, this marketing team is genius. You guys know why 2 Chainz was there? So apparently the Atlanta Dream honored his wife as like the woman of the month in the WNBA.
Oh, okay. So, they do that all the time.
Of course you're gonna come support your wife.
Especially after he just got married.
Yeah. So
man.
Yeah,
the Dream set that up, man.
Which was good on their part. I mean, which is good on their part.
I saw the pictures. I was like, okay, I ain't got a rapper coming to support WNBA game.
I mean, the whole Hawks team was there.
Yeah,
the whole Hawks team.
Bazemore bought tickets.
The whole team,
pretty much.
Even the guy.
Trae Young was there. I mean,
everybody except for Plumlee.
Even Bembry.
Who? Who is Plumlee?
Right.
And there are so many Plumlees.
Does he still play for the Hawks?
There are so many
I'm asking a
Plumlees.
serious question.
Yeah, he still plays.
It's his birthday like yesterday.
Yeah,
Happy birthday. He still play for the Hawks?
Yeah, he's still on there.
Yeah,
he didn't play for the Hawks last year. I don't remember seeing him out there.
Yeah, he played fourth reserve.
And there are so many Plumlees, you got to ask which one we're talking about. Are we talking about Miles? Are we talking about
12
Mason?
Hey, I keep calling him the wrong Plumlee, bro. I think Miles played for the Hawks. Miles is someone that played for because Mason is the good one.
Because you know
Mason
the
is
theory.
the youngest one, I think.
You know the theory that we have here that Duke just creates Plumlees.
Yeah.
They just create Plumlees.
They got rid when they figured out they weren't gonna win with Plumlees, they start recruiting 4 or 5 stars. That's what happened.
And Jones is too.
Yeah, the Joneses.
Yeah,
keeping up with the Joneses.
Right, but yeah, I think the Dream take it and they go to the WNBA Finals. What happens after that, yet to be seen. Speaking of which,
why did Trayvon Duval decide to go into the draft this year?
He got bad advisors.
He's he was a top 5 high school kid, and he decides and he goes from top 5 to undrafted, and he decides to go anyway.
Yeah.
Who is talking to these kids?
He must didn't watch his own film because it was awful. Like, he was not good last year.
He must not have access to the internet to look up a mock draft.
How many points did you score a game, dude? Like 6?
That's crazy. How do you go from a top 5 recruit in the class? You're a guaranteed lottery pick. all you got to do is show up. And you ruined that all the way to the point where you went undrafted and you still decided to go into the draft. That's that big baller brand type of
You sure about that, David?
confidence, man.
You sure about that? He said big baller brand type confidence. You sure about that?
I don't know what to do.
And
That's
the
just
crazy
him.
thing is this year he would have been able to come back to school, but
Yeah.
And the funniest part is, like if that was Jello would have got all the hate, all the jokes on social media.
Right.
Since it's Duval, ain't nobody say nothing. It was just kind of like, oh, okay.
I mean, Jello was like a 3-star and Duval was top 5.
You right. You right. But I mean, but if it was like Lonzo Ball,
Now if it was Lonzo Ball, that'd be different.
like if Lonzo Ball went from where he was to undrafted, then everybody would have gave him all these jokes.
Right.
It'd
And
have been funny.
and I imagine that another thing that they're probably going to be ending up making jokes about if they already aren't on Twitter, Instagram, is the fact that we renamed our arena State Farm Arena.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's I mean, but
Man,
like
money-
if I knew the Phillips brand a little better, then I would have thought the Phillips Arena was a joke. But you know, ain't nobody paid attention to no Phillips.
I mean,
Yeah.
money talks. You get a couple of $100 million just to rename your arena.
Yeah,
Do it.
at least
That's
it's
true.
not Little Caesars Arena.
Yeah,
That's
awful.
Detroit, right?
That's just-
Little
yeah.
Caesars was
Yeah.
bad, man.
I mean, it could be being called the Hawks basketball arena because they ain't got no sponsor.
Yeah, or the Dollar General
Hey, like, you know,
arena.
Wow.
Like, hey, we got to cut back on the barbershop and we got to get rid of one of them goals because we don't have enough money.
One of
'Cause-
them goals. They
The
playing, they playing Big
courtside
Three.
bar.
Yeah,
Big
we
Three
don't-
basketball.
Courtside bar. The
Yeah.
courtside bar.
Yeah, because we don't have enough money.
That's gonna be the what I want to see. One of the main things I want to see is how is that gonna work with people getting haircuts.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, do not come when LeBron's in town. They will mess your hairline up. LeBron dunked the ball, it is over with.
Oh, man.
So, oh,
You
LeBron!
just gotta just get the dude in the back chair. That's what you gotta do. Just
Yeah.
like, don't get the good dude in the first chair.
I'm trying to watch LeBron, man.
The dude in the back, he appreciate you. Like, I got you.
He said, oh, you coming to see me? Oh,
let me get my good clippers.
Yo,
Right.
that's crazy.
He's like, dang, those Clippers ain't like you just took them out the box.
I did. My first
Imagine
day.
like waiting to go to a Hawks game to get your first cut. Like being like, dang, like, nah, I'm gonna wait to the game tonight.
How do you make that decision? You just go to I'm gonna go to the game. Oh, dang, I need a cut right quick.
No. It'll have to be like you were too busy to get a cut before you went to the game.
Well, the thing is, you're probably thinking, all right, if I'm gonna get a cut, then I might as well get a cut while I'm at the game because haircuts around here are pretty expensive.
There's no logic to this.
Yeah,
There
there's
really
no
isn't.
logic. Like, why would you pay to
There's
go
no
to a game you're not
logic
gonna
to-
watch to get a
Yeah,
haircut?
like doors. I'm pretty sure the barbershops within the arena, not like open area like CNN and stuff too.
Yeah.
so that makes it even worse.
You got to see when you see one of them women fishing for a basketball husband, and you like, oh dang, I gotta get me a fresh cut real quick. You run up
Yeah.
to the,
And then you go up there and it's a 35 person line.
It's
Right.
definitely gonna be a line.
You don't missed half the game trying to get a haircut.
That's the thing. That's a good point that you made.
I'm
because
probably gonna go up there. I can't lie. Maybe one time, like just to at least see the line.
I just want to walk in there. Yeah, like you said, I just want to look at the idiots who paid to come to a game and get a haircut. I'm just gonna be in there looking at you stupid fool.
And premium prices.
You fools.
Premium
pay
prices.
the
Tell
fools.
Everything's more expensive in the arena than it is out.
yeah.
right.
So I can go to Swag Shop on Edgewood, probably get a cut for like 20, but then I go to the arena, it's probably 30.
That's
You
gonna
paid
be the thing.
$30 for the tickets.
Imagine
It depends on how much these
going
cuts
to,
are.
to the game to go on a date to go to Top Golf with your girl.
Oh man,
That's stupid.
What?
I'd be so mad. I'd be like, I
What?
paid $50 for this Hawks game.
and
$100.
we're gonna spend the whole time.
We gonna in Top Golf.
Man,
Top Golf,
I
like
could have
this.
watched the game on TV for free.
Cause who gonna go to Top Golf for 15 minutes and then go right back to the game? Nobody.
Nobody's gonna do
You,
that.
you at
mess.
least in Top Golf
It
1
would-
hour.
It would make sense if it was a NASCAR race or a football game.
right.
But basketball is short.
Yeah,
It's 2
it's
hours,
short, yeah.
and that's it.
Especially,
That's all you got.
Especially if it's a college football game, because college football games can be anywhere from 3.5 to 4 hours plus.
3.5 to 4.5 days.
No, that's no,
Base-
no,
baseball's
That's
a
a
that's,
good
long
sport for
game.
that.
no,
yesterday,
that's
man.
Yankees Red Sox. That's what that is. That's Yankees Red Sox.
It was some long games yesterday, man. I tell you, man.
But it is good to know that the Hawks are here to stay. Like, I mean, that the Dominique statue is kind of like the first thing of saying they're here to stay.
Yeah.
I talked to Spencer Haywood in Detroit, at NABJ, and I asked him, when Seattle coming back, and he was telling me like a little estimate, and he told me a couple teams that he thought could move over there, and Atlanta was not one of the teams. So I'm like, all right, we good.
Yeah. Right. Well, Seattle's going to get a team.
My thing is just like, will the same owner still be there? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wrestler in them.
Yeah,
well, I really think they've improved the value of the team, so it would make sense for them to sell it like in the next couple of years.
Yeah, well, I know that it's one of those things where I remember you sent me something about how the Clippers are about to get a new arena.
Yeah, they get a new one.
Yeah. So and where are they supposed to be building that?
Inglewood. Yeah, I remember.
Oh,
I remember
wow.
seeing that.
Yeah,
I saw that like
right there with the Rams.
So they want to kind of separate from the
Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is good because the Clippers do kind of need their own identity.
Do they though? I mean,
at this point, it's kind of like it is what it is, bro.
But would you rather just move somewhere else and people just forget you there, or?
I mean, money talks. Everybody likes shiny new toys. That arena's gonna be nice.
That's true, but
but it is crazy going to a home game and seeing Magic Johnson outside.
Yeah, okay, I'm pretty sure people have made this mistake and drove in by Staples Center and be like, "Oh, they're a game tonight," and just pull in and go buy tickets and go in the game and be like, "Oh, it's the Clippers." But you already don't play. You don't pay to get in, so you made your money. So
here's the thing, though: what if the Clippers just so happen to be playing the Lakers?
Yeah. It's the Lakers home game.
Those are sold out.
So the Lakers have 8 home games.
What's so crazy is that I still cannot get over this, and I may have mentioned this once or twice on previous episodes. Is I remember one time that they announced at the Dodger game one time they were announcing the results of the Clippers series against the Rockets when they blew that 3-1 lead on Houston. They announced the results of that to L.A. Dodger fans in Los Angeles, and the crowd at Chavez Ravine cheered that the Clippers were being eliminated by the playoffs. Is this that much of a Laker town that you are it's unbelievable.
Yes,
they're rivals, but
the Yankees and the Mets.
No, it's not like the Yankees. At least the Mets have respect in New York.
Right, exactly.
Nobody cares about the Clippers.
What's crazy is like the Clippers had like the bigger stars, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, all on the commercials, Lob City, DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
And then the Lakers weren't good.
Right.
For a couple years, and the Lakers were still the fan favorite in Los. Like when that happened, that was
right.
I think they had Magic, and they had
tradition.
Yeah.
Tradition. It's that simple. It's the purple and gold mystique. I mean, it's the same. But
they should have stayed in San Diego.
Oh God.
They
should have. That would have been a good move. Because they probably would be in Las Vegas.
Well, this being number 2 market, can't turn that down.
True. Absolutely. Your market value is going to decrease automatically if you go to a market like San Diego. But I know that one of the rubs, you was mentioning Seattle. I know one of the rubs on the Clippers is that when Ballmer bought them after the whole Donald Sterling stuff, is that when Steve Ballmer bought them, the rub was, he's going to move them to Seattle because that's where Ballmer's from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I guess they're building a new arena, and they're gonna stay at least in the LA area, even though Seattle kind of does need an NBA team. But until Seattle does get an NBA team, they're just perfectly fine with the Storm, who's probably going to end up winning a WNBA championship this year. So
what was that whole thing about the Dream gonna do it?
No, the Dream not gonna do it. We just had to talk about something else. The Dream not gonna do it. That's not gonna happen.
Saying that they were gonna do it. I'm just saying they got a chance.
Seattle's probably gonna win.
I'm just saying they got.
You see how we tricked them into believing what we were saying?
I'm just saying they got a chance. And I'm sticking to it. Game 4 is tonight. Get to a TV if you haven't get to a TV. Game 4 is actually this afternoon at 3 in DC. So
it's probably like yesterday
by the time you listen to this, but and by the time you're listening to this, Atlanta will be punch their ticket to the WNBA Finals.
They'll be punched in their mouth and trying to figure out what happened.
And they're probably going to win. Maybe they take it to 5 games. Mm-mm. I'm just being an eternal optimist here because somebody's got to be that.
Yeah, because we done been battered, beaten, and bruised our whole life. Yeah, we don't believe in nothing.
Is this the first year that they win a game in the WNBA Finals?
No.
Oh, man.
Man, I'm afraid that they're going to go and get beat so bad. I'm just going to be like, why did you even make it?
How do you go
That's not going to happen,
3 years and not win a single game?
Because you're in Atlanta.
Even Cleveland won a game.
You're in Atlanta. That's how.
Wow.
Before we go, can we do our NFL picks? I know the season gets started this week.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm going to say for the Super Bowl this year, I'm going to take the Falcons, and the Stellas.
Oh my gosh, that's a bowl right there. Talking about the king.
What?
An NFC Championship in Atlanta. It's just like,
Hey, no, we don't have a problem in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but we get to the Super Bowl and lose now.
You must think Atlanta gonna get number 2 seed and then they don't play in the NFC.
No, I think they're gonna get the number 1 seed. I don't see them losing about 3 games this year. So
What's so crazy is that I was about to pick those same exact 2 teams. What about you, Dave?
New England, New York.
So another
the Giants.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about the Giants.
I hear you.
I don't know about the. I got to see something about the Giants.
Because and people out in New England, just like Houston, never stay healthy. San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers, I was choking the playoffs.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Last year they choked before they could make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, Pittsburgh. They freeze up in Foxborough all the time. Yeah. So it's just like, who's gonna beat them?
I don't know. Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's a cold weather team. They should know how to play in the cold.
I always hear excuses all the time.
I don't think they're gonna have to go to New England this year. That's
the thing.
That's the only reason why I'm picking Pittsburgh over New England, because I don't think.
So you think the AFC title game is going to be Patriots Steelers, but it's going to be Heinz Field?
It's going to be Heinz Field.
Gotcha. I like that.
And then as far as the NFC, my surprise team is going to be the Bears. I love what they did when they got Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack, that's a big signing. Huge.
My NFC North pick.
Yeah, and getting him and putting him with Leonard Floyd, if he ever gets healthy, and
right,
Aaron Lynch,
Roquan and
Roquan Smith, that defense got a lot better.
I want to close out somewhat on this. The fact that they would go ahead and they would get rid of one of their best players, Oakland. The fact that they would get rid of one of their best players, if not the best player, pretty much underscores, in my opinion, why we need to stop obsessing over these 90s coaches. Because everybody was obsessing. Oh, when's John Gruden coming back? Where's John Gruden coming back? Are they going to hire John Gruden? Is this team going to hire Bill Cowher? Is this team going to hire Bill Cowher? Like, if this is how the Raiders are going to leave Oakland on their way en route to Las Vegas, then that is what's going to happen. But it just shows, once again, exactly why we need to stop obsessing over names and start obsessing over track record. Because the John Gruden of today is not the John Gruden that won with Tony Dungy's players when he won in Tampa.
Gruden really didn't do anything.
No, he didn't. And the fact that he didn't even have a conversation with Khalil Mack about coming back, you don't even try to talk to not only the best player on your team, but the second or third best player in all of football. Not just Little League football, not college football. NFL, in football, you're talking about, that'll be like LeBron James not even getting a call from his head coach.
The NFL.
And then they trade him.
The NFL, which stands for not belong when you make them beep calls.
Yep. I mean, I think John Gruden he'll be on the podcast with us in 2 years.
Yeah,
he won't have a job in the NFL, so
NBC's probably going to offer him a lot of money.
Philly all over again.
He's probably going to be doing radio for somebody, or NBC's going to probably end up offering him a lot of money. That is episode 85 once again in the books. A-League. Once again, thanks as always for tuning in. As always, shall we do our sign-offs?
Okay, this is David Norwood at the Norwood 90.
Jeremy Johnson, Clark _Kent _75. Go Dogs.
ShawMilling.com. You can follow me on Twitter at I Feel Like Summer.
Akeem Balaam, Twitter, Graham Beyond the W could be broadcasting this podcast from near the home of your soon-to-be WNBA Finals participants, Atlanta Dream. Check it out.
Diamonds they wear like go fishing. Y'all don't want friends, I want Audis. I don't want cars, I want Rarries. I don't want friends, I want Audis.